So I'm David Little, and the car is the Barnato-Hassan Special, and yeah, we just ran it in the Parnell Cup at Goodwood members meeting. Most of the laps went pretty well. One of them we had a little squeaky moment, but yeah, it went very well. The car was built to race at Brooklands on a bank circuit. Constant 120, 130, 140 miles an hour. It wasn't really designed for the a track where you're slowing and speeding up and cornering and so on. So we got a long wheelbase, carrying a lot of weight at the front, so you have to take the corners a bit judiciously, and so yeah, so it's a bit of a different car to the rest of the field.
So I'm William Medcalf. I started a business called Vintage Bentley almost 30 years ago, and we restore and rebuild the finest vintage Bentleys in the world, and we're very fortunate to have been involved in this project, restoring the Barnato-Hassan. David has done a fantastic job learning to drive the car, learning to get the grip of it. It's very light on the rear end, so we run a bit more fuel just to give it a bit more weight. But ultimately, yeah, it's the skill of the driver. You've got to thread it through the needle and keep it going in a straight line. It's very long, so it's quite slow to react. But during testing, David's come on leaps and bounds, and he's done a great job today. So obviously, this car was designed and built by William Medcalf. He was the chairman of Bentley Motors. When the factory closed, he walked through the factory and picked the parts he wanted and the men that he wanted. One of those now famous legendary engineers was Wally Hassan. Wally Hassan was tasked with building this car for the sole purpose of the outright record and so on. And so from William Medcalf, it then moved to a guy called Keith Schellenberg just post-war. And Keith raced it for over 50 years and incredibly just kept this wonderful passion going. And today, obviously, it's moved to David. So David sits in quite a fantastic list of owners. It's very historic, so to be able to become an owner of the car is truly amazing.
There isn't a good reason why I bought the car, and it wouldn't, it wouldn't stack up to any analysis, but I'd admired it for a long time and seen it there. I'd never been allowed to even sit in it. Somebody said, well, it could be for sale. I thought, well, we only live once, so we've ended up with it. It's done a lot and it's capable of doing a lot, so it's an honour to have it for a moment.
So Barnato wanted the bragging rights to Brooklands. He wanted the outer circuit record. He also wanted the Class B and the outright record. And this car was built just for that purpose. It was obviously built to go in a straight line. It would average, its fastest ever average that was 143.6 miles an hour. And on the straights it's running over 150 miles an hour. So, but William Medcalf did fulfil his quest. He took the Class B record, which the car still holds at Brooklands. It took the outright record at Brooklands, and is credited today as being the second fastest car ever to go around Brooklands. So obviously Mr. Bentley's design, 4 valves per cylinder, so she's 24 valves, 6 cylinder, and it had a monocoque construction, so no cylinder head, no head gasket to worry about. So the reliability factor was just there all the time. The rear 3-throw drive, which was again unique to him, so there's no timing chains or timing belts or gears. This conrod system was just revolutionary, and so when they got it up to about 300 brake horsepower, they wanted to make it go even faster, so they used an atmospheric supercharger. So this long snorkel that you see sticking out the front, you've got 140 mile an hour wind pressure blowing on the carburetors. So not only are the carburetors sucking, but they're being blown upon, forcing that fuel, so forced induction, which is just incredible. And there's a little slot here. The driver, Oliver Birchman, would open and close that as they were trying to test the car on the banking and against the stopwatch, just to find the sweet spot where the thing really would go. And you've got to remember, at Brooklands it was a bumpy circuit by the mid-30s, so you got all 4 wheels off the ground, the supercharger absolutely working its heart out, even though it's just a pipe sticking out the front in clean air. Just a fantastic, brilliant bit of genius. So I think the next generation, every single person that I have the opportunity to put in a Bentley and take for either a drive or get them to drive it, they absolutely love it. We're human beings. We like analogue things. So in the same way that the book was going to go out, of bookshops were going to go, and the Kindle was going to take over, or knitting. None of us need to knit a jumper, but we love knitting, and it's a great skill. So when you drive one of these pre-war cars, it is so analogue. It is so basic. The car will give you nothing. So to drive it well is the skill of the driver. And young people are fantastic at learning and picking these things up, and so obviously we teach as many people as we can. We hold track days here at Goodwood teaching the next generation, and in the morning it's a crash gearbox, so there's no synchromesh, so you have to get the timing exactly right. Often the accelerator pedal is in the middle like it is with this car, so there's a few quirks to get your head around, but when you get it, drifting one of these into the bends and powering through the bend, it's just majestic, and the reward for driving it well is huge. So that's why I think there's a huge future for these cars. And again, running on synthetic fuel, so these are running net zero. It's just brilliant. We're very lucky. Everyone stops and looks. It's majestic, it's beautiful, it's powerful. So a vintage Bentley is all of those things, those Bentley boys, the antics at Lemoore, the spirit, that sportsman, win, but win fairly. In the Bentleys is just brilliant. And wherever you go, today I could drive a vintage Bentley into London, park it pretty much anywhere, and within 90 seconds there's 20 people around it, and within 5 minutes there's 50 people around it. Everyone loves a Bentley, and why wouldn't they? We're very lucky.